The great hall of the Galactic Council fell silent as Captain James Walker strode to the center of the chamber. His black uniform stood out among the colorful robes and exoskeletons of the alien representatives. 300 different species watched him, some with multiple eyes, others with sensing organs humans couldn't even understand. Walker took a deep breath. His face showed nothing, but his heart raced. What he was about to say would change the galaxy forever. Earth formally withdraws from all diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council, he announced, his voice strong and clear. Effective immediately. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then the chamber exploded with noise. "This is outrageous," shouted a tall blue alien, waving 4 arms in anger. "They cannot do this," screeched another with feathers that puffed up in distress. Elder Gorn, the ancient lizard-like chairman of the council, pounded his heavy staff against the floor. The booming sound echoed through the hall. "Order. We will have order," he demanded, his scaled face flushing dark green with fury. Only Ambassador Trell remained calm. The slender, silver-skinned diplomat from the Meridian Confederation watched Walker with glowing eyes that seemed to see right through him. She had warned the council for years that they were making a mistake by looking down on humans. Now her warnings had come true. "Captain Walker," Elder Gorn said when the noise finally died down, "surely this is some kind of mistake. Earth has been a valued member of the council for 50 years. Walker stood firm. "There is no mistake. Our decision is final." "But why?" asked a small round alien whose skin bubbled with confusion. "What have we done to offend Earth?" Walker did not answer. He simply turned and walked toward the exit, ignoring the shouting behind him. Once outside the grand chamber, Walker tapped the small device behind his ear. "Phase 1 complete," he reported. "Moving to Phase 2. "Any problems?" asked the voice in his ear. "None," Walker replied. "They're shocked, just as we expected." What the council didn't know was that Earth had discovered their betrayal just days ago. A sympathetic alien had leaked a top-secret file to Earth's government, a file that labeled humans as a containment priority species. The council had pretended to welcome humans as equals while secretly planning to limit their growth and power. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Trell approached Elder Gorn. "I warned you," she said quietly. "Humans value honesty above all else. They would rather have an open enemy than a false friend." Elder Gorn hissed in frustration. "They are just one species. How much damage can they do by leaving?" Trell's luminous eyes narrowed. "You still underestimate them. Humans have quietly become essential to our economy, our shipping networks, and our defense systems. You classified them as a threat to be contained, but failed to see how deeply they had already integrated into our society." "What are you suggesting?" Gorn demanded. "I am suggesting," Trell said, "that you have made a terrible mistake. This is not the end of the crisis. It is only the beginning." As she spoke, thousands of human ships across the galaxy were already receiving coded messages. Trade vessels changed course. Diplomatic missions packed up. Military observers withdrew. The humans were leaving, all at once, everywhere. And the Galactic Council had no idea what would happen next. 3 weeks after Earth's withdrawal, the effects spread through council space like cracks in ice. Counselor Vax stared at the large holographic display in the emergency command center. Red warning lights blinked across trade routes where human ships once traveled. "This is impossible," Vax muttered, his tentacles curling with stress. "How could one species cause so much damage by simply leaving?" And Aid approached nervously. "Sir, we have more reports. The Bellin system is facing food shortages. The medical supply chain to the Outer Rim has collapsed, and 7 more species have announced they are also leaving the council." Vax's skin darkened with alarm. 7 more. Which ones?" "Smaller species, sir. All former human trading partners." On the council homeworld, Elder Gorn called an emergency meeting. Only half the usual representatives attended. The others were busy dealing with crises on their own worlds. "We must convince the humans to return," said a representative with glowing skin. "Offer them anything they want." Elder Gorn shook his head. "We have sent 12 diplomatic missions to Earth. None were allowed to land. The humans refuse all communication." Ambassador Trell spoke up. "Because you still don't understand what you did wrong. You classify them as a threat while pretending to be their friends. Humans value honesty above all else." "But they seem so harmless," complained another council member. "Always smiling, always helpful." Trell laughed bitterly. "That was your mistake. You saw their friendliness as weakness. You never realized they were making themselves necessary while hiding their true strength." Meanwhile, in Earth orbit, Admiral Pike watched as the latest Council diplomatic vessel was turned away. From her command center on the space station Guardian, she had a perfect view of Earth's growing defense fleet. "That's the 12th Council ship this week," reported Commander Davis, her second in command. Pike nodded. "They're getting desperate. Should we at least hear what they have to say?" Davis asked. "No," Pike replied firmly. "They had 50 years to treat us as equals. Now they learn what it means to lose human cooperation." On her screen, Pike reviewed reports from across former Council space. Everything was going according to plan. The Council had never understood that humans had deliberately spread throughout the galaxy, making themselves essential to countless systems and processes. "They think this is a negotiating tactic," Pike said. "They don't realize it's a complete reset." On the frontier world of Proxima Beta, Trader Tom Miller smiled as alien merchants crowded his small office. Without human shipping, entire sectors faced shortages of basic goods. What once cost 10 credits now sold for 30 or more. "I can get you the medicine," Miller told a desperate Jurgen merchant. "But I need access to your mining rights on Sector 7. "That's outrageous," the Jurgen protested, its breathing tubes inflating with anger. "Those mines have been in my family for generations." Miller shrugged. "Your choice. There are no Council ships coming to help you now." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out thousands of times. Human traders suddenly had enormous leverage. They weren't just asking for credits anymore. They wanted ownership, control, and influence. Back on Earth, the Human Strategic Command gathered in their underground headquarters. General Ray, head of the operation, addressed the room. "Phase 2 is complete," she announced. "Economic disruption has exceeded our projections. The Council's trade network is collapsing faster than expected." On the main screen, a map showed Council space with spreading areas of red. "The smaller species are already breaking away," said an analyst. "Just as we predicted." General Ray nodded with satisfaction. "Then we are ready for Phase 3. Prepare the data package for transmission." The real plan was just beginning. The Council thought this was about trade or hurt feelings. They had no idea what was coming next. "This is an outrage." Ambassador Krell slammed his large green fist on the Council table. The decorative water features along the edge splashed over several delegates. No one complained. They had bigger problems. 2 months had passed since Earth's withdrawal. The Grand Council chamber, once filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds, now held barely 50. "The humans planned this all along," Krell continued, his neck ridges flaring with anger. "They spent decades making us depend on them, then left us helpless." Elder Gorn looked tired. His scales had lost their shine, and his eyes were dull with worry. 3 major trading powers have now followed Earth's example and withdrawn," he announced. "The Tau Alliance, the Rigel Confederation, and the Proxima Coalition are gone. 17 minor species have declared neutrality." Horrified murmurs filled the chamber. The economic bloc that had stood for 3,000 years was falling apart. "We should never have classified them as a containment risk," Elder Gorn admitted quietly. "Their friendliness hid their true importance to our networks." Ambassador Trell, who had warned them for years, shook her head. "Humans are natural connectors. While you watched them for weapons technology, they were building relationships across the galaxy. Now those relationships are stronger than loyalty to the Council. On the human colony world of Novaterra, Governor Bell received the latest intelligence reports in her underground command center. Screens showed Council military ships changing position, moving away from human space. "They're pulling back their warships," noted her security chief. "Are they afraid we'll attack?" Bell studied the movements. "Or they're preparing to hit us from a new angle. Keep all defense systems ready." An aide entered with a data tablet. "Governor, we've received word from Earth. Phase 3 has been authorized." Bell nodded. "They still don't understand," she told her team. "The Council thinks this is a negotiating tactic. They think we'll return if they offer better terms." "Will we?" asked a young officer. Bell's expression hardened. "There is no going back. The old Council system was built on lies. It cannot be fixed, only replaced." In a secure meeting chamber deep beneath Earth's Geneva complex, the Human Strategic Command gathered around a large circular table. Military leaders, trade officials, and intelligence directors sat side by side. General Ray, a tall woman with short gray hair and a commanding presence, stood at the head of the table. "Phase 2 has exceeded expectations," she announced. "Economic disruption is at 78%. Higher than our target of 65%. The Council's reserve supplies are nearly exhausted. Their military forces are spread thin trying to maintain order on worlds facing shortages." "What about the neutral species?" asked a trade official. "The ones that haven't picked a side. Most are secretly cooperating with us," General Ray replied. "They're just waiting for the right moment to officially break from the Council." She touched a control, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed thousands of documents, some text, some images, some video recordings. "This is our Phase 3, she explained. "Every secret classification, every hidden directive, every instance where the Council lied to its own members. We're going to release it all." The officials around the table looked at the hologram with a mix of anticipation and concern. "The Council will collapse completely," said one. General Ray nodded. "That's the plan. For generations, they've classified species as threats or assets, manipulating them while pretending to treat them as equals. It's time for everyone to know the truth." "And then?" asked another official. "Then we offer an alternative," said General Ray. "A true alliance based on honest cooperation. No secret hierarchies. No hidden agendas." She looked around the table at Earth's leaders. "Phase 3 begins tomorrow. The Council won't survive the week." 4 months after Earth's withdrawal, every communication device across known space activated at once. Screens in homes, public spaces, and government buildings all showed the same image. Admiral Pike of the Earth Defense Force standing before a plain blue background, her uniform crisp and her expression serious. "People of the galaxy," she began, her voice calm but firm. "For thousands of years, the Galactic Council has claimed to represent all species equally. Today, you will learn the truth." On the Council homeworld, Elder Gorn stared at the screen in horror. He knew what was coming. "The Council has operated under a system of secret classifications," Pike continued. "Species have been ranked by their supposed threat level and potential usefulness. These rankings have determined which technologies you were allowed to access, which trade routes you could use, and even which colonies you could establish." The broadcast changed to show thousands of classified Council documents scrolling across screens. Secret directives, hidden protocols, evidence that shocked viewers on countless worlds. Humanity was classified as a containment priority species, Pike explained. "The Council feared our rapid adaptation and social connectivity. They smiled at us while secretly limiting our growth." The screen split to show specific examples. Denied technology transfers labeled as technical difficulties, sabotaged colony ships, and manipulated trade agreements that kept human businesses dependent on Council suppliers. "But we were not alone in this treatment," Pike continued. "We have identified 47 species subjected to similar containment protocols. We have shared this information directly with their governments. On the Council homeworld, riots broke out as the servant species learned they had been deliberately kept in lower positions for centuries. 6 more major powers announced immediate withdrawal from the Council. Council security forces were overwhelmed trying to maintain order. Ambassador Trell watched from her private chambers as fires burned in the government district. After 20 years of warning the Council about their approach to humans, she had finally resigned her position that morning. She activated a secure channel to Earth. After a brief delay, Captain James Walker appeared on her screen. He had been promoted since his dramatic announcement at the Council. "You knew this would happen," she said. "It wasn't a question." Walker nodded. "We discovered the classification system 2 years ago. We gave the Council multiple chances to change. They chose control over partnership. What happens now?" Trell asked. "That depends on the Council," Walker replied. "Their choice is simple: adapt or collapse." In the emergency bunker beneath the Council headquarters, Elder Gorn and the remaining high-ranking officials watched as their 1,000-year-old government crumbled around them. "How could they have accessed these files?" an official demanded. "They were protected by our highest security measures. The humans have had allies inside our government for years," Gorn said bitterly. "We never saw it because we underestimated their ability to build relationships." On a wall screen, reports came in from across Council space. Protests, declarations of independence, and demands for new leadership. "We must respond with strength," suggested a military commander. "Show these rebels what happens when they challenge the Council." Gorn shook his head. "That would only confirm everything the humans have said about us. No, we need a different approach." But it was already too late. Another official burst into the room with a new report. "The Defense Fleet is standing down. Their commanders are refusing orders to suppress the protests." Across the galaxy, the truth spread like wildfire. Species that had served the Council loyally for generations now questioned everything they had been told. The careful hierarchy that had maintained order for thousands of years was collapsing. And in Earth orbit, Admiral Pike watched the chaos unfold exactly as planned. "Begin preparations for Phase 4, she ordered. "It's time to offer them an alternative." 6 months after Earth's withdrawal, a new gathering took place on the neutral world of Terra Nova. The planet's Crystal Dome Conference Center, built to accommodate beings from any environment, buzzed with activity as representatives from 47 former Council species arrived. Captain Walker, now promoted to Admiral, stood at the center of the main chamber. Unlike his appearance before the Council, he now smiled warmly at the gathered delegates. "Welcome to the first meeting of the Galactic Cooperative," he announced. "Thank you all for your courage in joining us here today." Ambassador Trell, who had resigned her Council position, sat in the front row. She studied the human proposal displayed on her datapad. Unlike the rigid hierarchy of the Council, the human plan created a flat organization where all members had equal standing. "The old Council was built on secrecy and control," Walker continued. "We propose something different, an alliance based on transparency and genuine cooperation." Delegates looked at each other uncertainly. After thousands of years under Council rule, many found it hard to imagine a different system. "How can we trust that humans won't simply replace the Council as the dominant power?" asked a delegate with translucent skin. Walker nodded. "A fair question. That's why the cooperative has built-in protections. No single species can hold more than one leadership position. All classified information will be accessible to all members, and any attempt to create secret rankings or containment protocols will trigger an automatic system-wide alert." Trell studied the proposal more closely. "You're offering genuine partnership," she realized. "No secret classifications." "Humans have always valued honest relationships," Walker replied, "even in our diplomacy." As the delegates reviewed the proposal, many began to nod in agreement. After centuries of manipulation by the Council, the human approach felt refreshingly straightforward. Meanwhile, deep in what remained of Council space, Elder Gorn gathered with the last loyal Council members. Once grand and confident, they now met in a small plain room on a minor outpost. "We've lost 70% of our territory," reported a military advisor. "Most of our fleet commanders have joined the human coalition or declared independence." "And our economy?" Gorn asked, though he already knew the answer. "Collapsed," replied a financial minister. "Without the trade networks that humans built, we can barely support our remaining worlds." Councillor Vax pounded the table in frustration. "We must force them back to negotiations. The council cannot fall. We have ruled for 3,000 years. Gorn's eyes narrowed. "What do you suggest?" "A military strike," Vax said firmly. "We still have enough ships for one decisive action. If we attack a human outpost, they will have no choice but to negotiate with us." Several council members looked alarmed. "Attack humans directly. That could start a war." "They leave us no choice," Gorn insisted, his old scales darkening with determination. "Without human cooperation, the council cannot survive. Better to risk war than face certain collapse." Vax shook his head. "I disagree, Elder. The humans have shown restraint so far. If we attack them directly, who knows what capabilities they might reveal." But Gorn had made his decision. "Prepare our remaining fleet. Target the human outpost at Ta City. It appears lightly defended and far from their main forces." As the council members left to carry out his orders, Gorn stared out the viewport at the stars. After 3,000 years, the mighty Galactic Council had been brought to its knees in just 6 months, by a species they had dismissed as primitive only 50 years ago. "How did we misjudge them so badly?" he whispered to himself. He had no way of knowing that his desperate plan was about to reveal just how badly they had underestimated humanity. The Council attack fleet approached the human outpost at Ta City with confidence. Their scans showed minimal defenses, just a small station with a few patrol ships. Elder Gorn had chosen well, or so they thought. "Weapons ready," ordered Fleet Commander Draz. "Target their main power systems. We want to disable, not destroy." The 12 Council warships moved into attack formation. Their mission was simple: damage the outpost enough to show strength, then offer to withdraw in exchange for negotiations. "Sir," called a sensor officer, confusion in his voice. "I'm detecting strange energy readings from the station." Before Draz could respond, the seemingly harmless outpost transformed. Hidden panels slid open, revealing dozens of weapon ports. Massive defense platforms decloaked around the station. The few patrol ships suddenly multiplied as holographic disguises dropped, showing heavily armed battlecruisers. "It's a trap," Draz shouted. "Evasive maneuvers." Too late. Brilliant blue energy beams shot out from the station, not striking the council ships but surrounding them in a web of light. Ship after ship lost power, engines dying as they drifted helplessly in space. Not a single shot had been fired at the council vessels. Not a single life had been lost. But within minutes, the entire attack fleet was disabled and drifting. On the main council warship, Commander Draz stared in shock at his dead control panels. Emergency lights cast an eerie red glow over the bridge. "How?" he whispered. "Our intelligence showed this was a minor outpost." A communication screen flickered to life, the only system still working. General Ray of the Earth Defense Force appeared, her expression stern, but not angry. "Your leadership has escalated from economic manipulation to military aggression," she stated calmly. "Earth will respond." Within days, previously hidden human military assets emerged throughout former Council space. Trade stations revealed advanced weapon systems. Civilian ships transformed into military vessels. Dormant defense platforms activated around dozens of worlds. On the Council homeworld, Elder Gorn received the reports with growing horror. "How did we not see this?" he whispered, his old scales pale with shock. The humans had captured the entire attack fleet without destroying a single ship or harming any crew. The Council vessels were being towed back to Council space by human ships, a very public return that showed everyone the failed attack and the humans' superior technology. Even worse, human military power seemed to be everywhere at once. Positions that had appeared to be simple trading posts now revealed themselves as heavily armed bases. Ships that had seemed to be civilian transports now showed military capabilities beyond anything the Council possessed. For 50 years, we integrated with their economy while hiding our true capabilities, Admiral Pike explained in a galaxy-wide broadcast. You classified us as a threat to be contained, but failed to see we were already too connected to be isolated. The human-led coalition issued its terms: the complete dissolution of the current council structure and criminal trials for those who had authorized the classified species directives, and the attack on Ta City. In the Galactic Cooperative meeting on Terra Nova, Ambassador Trell approached Admiral Walker after the news of the Council's failed attack reached them. "You could have destroyed those ships," she noted. "Why didn't you?" Walker's expression remained calm. "Humans don't seek to dominate through fear. We disabled their fleet to stop the attack, but killing their crews would only create more hatred." Trell studied the human with new understanding. "Your people are strange, Admiral. You prepared for war while hoping for peace. You built weapons but choose not to use them." Walker smiled slightly. "An old human saying is, speak softly but carry a big stick. We prefer cooperation, but we're always ready to defend ourselves." Around them, delegates from dozens of species watched news feeds showing the Council fleet being escorted home by human vessels. "The Council will have no choice but to surrender now," Trell observed. Walker nodded. "Phase 6 is complete. Now we begin the final phase, building something better together." 1 year after Earth's withdrawal, representatives from over 200 worlds gathered on Earth for the signing of the Terran Accords. The grand ceremony took place in Geneva, where humans had signed their own global peace agreements centuries earlier. Admiral Walker stood on the stage, looking out at the diverse gathering. Species that had once been enemies now sat side by side. Beings that had been classified as threats for centuries now participated as equals. "Today marks a new beginning," Walker announced. "Not human rule replacing council rule, but a true partnership of all sapient beings." Ambassador Trell, now representing her people in the new Galactic Cooperative, joined Walker on stage. Her silver skin gleamed under Earth's sunlight. "For 3,000 years, the Council maintained order through secrecy and control," she said. "Today we choose a different path, one of openness and mutual respect." One by one, representatives came forward to sign the accords. Each signature appeared instantly on screens throughout the galaxy, showing everyone that a new era had truly begun. Later that evening, Walker and Trell stood on a balcony overlooking the lights of Geneva. The celebration continued in the hall behind them. "You never wanted war," Trell observed. "Even when you revealed your military strength, you used it to capture rather than destroy." Walker nodded. "Humans don't seek dominance. We seek partnership, but on equal terms." "Your plan worked perfectly," Trell said. 7 phases, executed with precision." Walker smiled slightly. "Not perfectly. We hoped the Council would change when they realized how much they needed us. The military confrontation was never part of the original plan." Trell looked surprised. "Then why prepare your hidden defenses? Humans have a saying: hope for the best, prepare for the worst." Walker explained. "We wanted cooperation, but we were ready for conflict." Across the galaxy, the last Council loyalists were surrendering or fleeing to uncharted space. The containment protocols that had been designed to limit humanity had ultimately led to the Council's own collapse. On a distant world, Elder Gorn, now stripped of power, but invited to witness the new beginning, sat alone in his guest quarters. A gentle knock at the door announced Walker's arrival. "May I join you?" the human asked politely. Gorn gestured to a chair. For a long moment, the former enemies sat in silence. "I still don't understand," the old alien finally admitted. "How did simply walking away from our table give you such power?" Walker considered his answer carefully. "That's because you always saw diplomacy as talking. Humans know it's about relationships." "Explain," Gorn requested, genuinely curious. When you classified us as a threat rather than treating us as partners, you revealed the relationship was a lie. Walker said, "No amount of talking can fix broken trust. Only actions can." The old council leader nodded slowly. "And now? Now we build something better," Walker replied. "The cooperative doesn't just pretend all species are equal, it ensures it through its structure. No hidden classifications, no secret containment protocols." Gorn looked at the human with new understanding. "Perhaps the Council's greatest mistake was seeing your adaptability as a threat rather than an opportunity." Walker stood to leave. "It's not too late for your people to join us, Elder Gorn. The door remains open." As the human departed, Gorn turned to the window and looked out at the stars. For the first time in months, he felt something like hope. Across the galaxy, ships once again moved freely between worlds. Trade resumed, this time without hidden restrictions. Species that had been kept apart by Council directives now met and shared knowledge openly. Humanity's greatest victory hadn't come from their hidden fleets or economic leverage, but from their fundamental understanding that even across species, respect and honesty form the only foundation for lasting peace. The galaxy would never be the same again. *The End*.